Welcome back to AFL from LA. It's your favorite time of the week, round 21 tips. I'm here with Andy from Ankle Sore. How you doing, Andy?
Hey, Cindye, I'm good. How are you?
I'm pretty good, but I had a terrible week of tipping.
I wasn't keeping an eye on it or anything.
I think I only got 3 right. It was like an all-time low. I think you only got 4 right.
Well, 4's better than 3,
check.
right? So,
yeah. So you win. For all of you keeping
win this
score,
week, yeah.
Andy won. It was a really exciting week on so many levels, but let's just get right into the games. Game 1 of the round, Bulldogs versus Melbourne, 8th versus 11th. Friday night, Marvel Stadium. So shockingly, you called the Doggies to beat Cindye, and they beat them to a pulp. It was impressive. What differences do you see in the Bulldogs over the last few weeks that have made them look so dangerous?
it's just the hunger. It's just like Bontempelli's such a great leader. They're just following. They're just following on the back of his great work. He's been fantastic all year. And for a long time, you know, they were sort of struggling there and very half-hearted, the rest of the players, but they've just jumped on his back and they're following his lead and they're hard to beat these days.
Well, and it helps that Ugelhagen is kicking straight.
Finally, yeah. That does help, yeah.
Melbourne, as predicted, lost to the Giants. And they actually played quite well against the Giants.
They did.
What went wrong, or for that matter, what went right for Melbourne last week?
It was much like when they played Cindye a few weeks ago. They just needed to win and they tried their guts out, but GWS is just too good.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Was that me?
I thought I heard something.
However, Jesse Hogan almost stuffed it up.
Oh, I know.
When they kicked the ball into him.
We'll get to the Giants later, but let's get to the who loses and why.
Oh, Melbourne lose.
Okay.
The Western Bulldogs love Marvel Stadium.
Okay.
They just love it. And they're playing really well. They've won 8 of the last 11. Very hard to beat.
So I agree. I see that Melbourne losing. The Bulldogs have the forward threat. They've got 3 key defenders. Their midfield on their best day can match anyone's. But sometimes they don't show up. So you never know when they're going to take a break. So I'm still going to say this week that the Demons lose.
Good tip.
Moving right along, the Eagles versus the Suns, 16th versus 13th. It's a Saturday afternoon at Optus Stadium. Did you enjoy the Derby?
Not really.
Not really? I mean, it was pretty...
It was good. The Eagles did all right.
Pretty scrappy. I mean, geez.
It was,
who knew?
The Eagles have got nothing to play for, so, you know, wouldn't you love to beat Fremantle or beat up on Fremantle?
For sure. And the Eagles were ahead for a good portion of that game. I mean, I was sitting here couldn't believe my eyes, right? What did you like about the Eagles' performance?
I always like Plugger Waterman. I just think they're such a different team when he plays.
Why is it so funny? Why is Plugger Waterman so
I don't know,
funny?
because Plugger Lockett was, he's the leading goal kicker of all time, and Plugger Waterman, he's named himself. I think he named himself Plugger Waterman, so that's the funny part.
What did you think of Harley?
He played really well.
Really well.
Really well.
The Suns' fortress has now been penetrated, right?
Finally. Yes, finally.
That was the one win they could count on, and now apparently they can't. So what are their chances of them winning on the road now that their fail-safe is no longer?
I still think 0, but they'll probably win this week because of that,
I know. It's sort of like everything gets turned upside down. We're in a whole new world, right?
Yep.
With that said, who loses and why?
Gold Coast, because they're playing away.
Yes. I agree with you. If the Eagles can bring the same energy, intensity that they had playing against Freo, and if Ben King continues to, not be sure where the goal is, I think this one's going to be a no-brainer and the Suns are going to lose.
Good call.
Okay, North versus Richmond, 17th versus 18th. I can't tell you how interesting I find this one.
It's intriguing, isn't it?
It's intriguing because, the question of to tank or not to tank. I'm getting a little ahead of myself here. So our little Joeys just couldn't pull it off. I mean, they tried really hard. and they couldn't finish. So what do you attribute to all the errors this week?
Hang on, you know they're not real kangaroos, right?
As far as I'm concerned, they could be, because I've never seen one. We've talked about this.
Fair enough, yes, fair enough. They just don't have that winning edge. They don't know how to win. That's it.
Okay.
And it might sound silly, but it's a real thing, you know. When you start winning games and you got that belief, it comes easier.
Okay.
Like, they're playing well. It's not like they're not playing well, but they just don't. There's certain key moments that they just mess up all the time.
Yeah, they couldn't finish.
They can't finish, and also just some decisions that they shouldn't be making. They second guess themselves, and good teams just go for it every time, you know.
Richmond could not compete against Collingwood, despite my optimism for it. What did you think of the Richmond game overall?
It was okay for 3 quarters, but the last quarter was just a waste of time.
Seems to be a theme with them, right?
I've been saying every week with Richmond, they're plucky, right? They'll give you all they can give, but they're not at the level yet. They've just got so many players out and so many young kids coming in, you know, they're just not there yet. But yeah, I actually enjoy watching them play.
I can't believe I'm about to say this. I look forward to seeing them improve in the future, like to see what they can do.
I wouldn't go that far. They've had a recent 3 premierships in the last, 7 years. So they can stay where they are for a while.
In fairness, in my career of watching football, I haven't seen too many top teams like the Eagles and Richmond are a great example, who've completely fallen apart and have to start over. So just from like a pure, curiosity standpoint, I'm kind of curious, like, okay, how do they
get back to
can they get back to what they once were? Do you know?
I just feel that there's like 5 or 6 teams ahead of them.
Yeah.
Like Hawthorn, North Melbourne. We've already started that ascension,
yeah.
you know, so no, they can stay there for another few years. They're fine.
Okay, fair enough.
They'll be
fair
fine.
Enough.
They'll be fine.
So who loses and why?
Richmond. They just can't sustain 4 quarters. Whereas I think North are a bit more advanced. You wouldn't have heard that 6 months ago, I suppose. But they won't be tanking.
They won't be taking. I agree with you. I think they have more to prove at this point. And they're pretty decked out with talent. And I think they have 100%. A few cards up their sleeve, right, in terms of what they can actually get in the trade. Or am I completely wrong about that? But
No, 100%. Like, they're still going to get the 2nd or 3rd pick, right? So it's not like,
right,
they're going to end up with a 17th pick or anything. They're still going to be right up there, so that they'll be able to trade that or pick up another good kid. So
I agree with you that Richmond are going to lose. I think the Roos have too much to prove at this point. I don't think it's worth it to them to try to get the first pick. I don't think it's necessary, and I think they're gonna beat Richmond.
Now in the next game, you're going to go first.
Okay.
Because you just listen to my tip and you go, yep, that sounds good.
Okay,
so you're going first in the next one, all right?
Cats versus Adelaide, 6th versus 15th. It's at the GMHBA, the Cattery. I'm always like, I have to say that.
Yeah, it's a bit like that.
So what did you find the most impressive about the Cats this past weekend?
To be honest, not a lot.
Not a lot.
I didn't think they were great against North.
Okay.
A lot of their goals were, call them unconventional goals, right?
Okay.
Got a bit lucky with a couple of free kicks. Not saying North were ever going to win. I didn't think they were ever going to win on Saturday, but Cats weren't convincing, I'll be honest.
Do you still see them as a top 4 team?
I do.
You do?
I do.
Because you keep changing your mind from week to week. I don't know what to expect.
Oh, no, I'm back on.
You're back
Cats.
on. You're still there. Okay. So if Geelong finishes top 4, somebody's got to get out. Who makes way for them?
GWS.
What?
You asked. I'm just telling the story.
So that's been enough of this show for tonight.
Yeah, I had to go. That's why I gave you that answer.
Oh, God. You want me to hang up on you? That's what you do.
Well.
So did you catch any of Tom Hawkins' special commentary for the game?
I did. I thought he was good.
Was he good?
I actually liked his comments. I think he's found his niche. I think he should never play again and do that. Well, he's 36. Come on.
He's got
to get it up sometime, Tom.
How does he compare to Lingy or Selwood as a commentator?
It's his first time, and he's better than both of them together. Honestly, they're terrible.
Adelaide was a huge disappointment. They started off competitive and then went to shit.
Basically, yes.
What happened in the second half besides not being able to stop 13 unanswered goals?
I was going to say the Hawthorn running machine just got running and that was it. They couldn't stop it. They played a team that's just full of confidence and unstoppable at the moment.
Adelaide have 4 very difficult games ahead of them. I think they have all the teams are in the top 8. And they don't get Rankin back, I think, until the round
Next
22.
week, maybe?
Yeah. So they don't get him this coming week. So who loses and why?
You go first, young lady.
Okay, that's right. I forgot.
We're not playing that trick again.
Okay, well, I didn't agree to that. No, Adelaide lose. Adelaide lose. They're coming off a bad week. I thought the Cats are marching ahead towards finals. It's a home game in Geelong. I know the Bulldogs demolished them their last game at home. I know that, but I can't see them losing to Adelaide this close to the end. So I'm saying Adelaide are losing. Sorry,
Okay.
Crows fans.
Well, surprise, surprise. I think Geelong lose.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Tell me what. Give me the why.
Geelong's had a pattern of these wins and then going back home in their comfort zone and losing.
Okay.
And Adelaide's been a surprise team all year. I know they were terrible last week, but
Yeah.
I think they've got one more left, and I think this could be it.
Well, I bring it on.
You heard it
excited to
first.
see it. I'm excited to see
And plus,
it.
I didn't want to follow you and give you the same tip as you. So
Next game. Oh, I can't wait to hear what you have to say about this. Port Adelaide versus Cindye, 7th versus 1st. I don't know. They got lucky. They won so many games early. Saturday night at the Adelaide Oval. So I saw a comment on Instagram, and I'm paraphrasing, but basically Buck said that he thought neither Port nor Carlton looked like finals teams. Did you feel like Port were that good or that Carlton were that bad?
I honestly thought Carlton were that bad because
Okay.
I think Port kicked 79 points and won the game. Now, to kick 79 points, that's not a very high score, right?
That's true,
And they're
yeah.
a free-flowing team, Port Adelaide, so it says a lot about Carlton personally, but you still need to win the game, so it was a good win away from home.
So do you think Radaglia should stay up front for the rest of the season? What advantage or disadvantage would that give the Swans?
It's horses for courses, right? So you want to try and stretch the other team's back line.
Okay.
And the Swans have got a couple of injuries down back, so this week I'd play him forward and try and stretch him. But conversely, they've got 3 tools up forward, Cindye also, so he might need to play back. So it just depends how they want to play at Port Adelaide.
So the Swans were unrecognizable, pretty much. And I think the fact that they finally have injuries, which we've talked about before, they still have their star midfield, but it seems like without with Papley out and
there's Rampy, there's Melican, there's Rowbottom.
Yeah, so it feels like
yeah.
Clearly these outs are affecting their game.
Absolutely. And I said it a few weeks back on the show that I really want to see Cindye when they've got a few injuries because they haven't had any. Up until round 15, I don't think they had one injury. I mean, they had Mills and Parker out.
Yeah.
But they hadn't played and they were winning games, so they weren't affected by them. But now you can see the real Cindye. I mean, their 3 stars are struggling because they have to do what they do plus a bit extra, which they're not capable of,
It was awful. So who loses and why?
Sydney. They've lost
sure
4
you
of
didn't
the
want me
last
to go
5.
first?
No, I'm happy that 4 of the last 5 they've lost, and there's no sign of easy games for them. Like Port Adelaide and Adelaide, massive game for Port, and I think Sydney lose.
Surprise, surprise. I'm with you. The Swans lose. The Swans lose. I mean, after that display and the fact that now even more people are out, they just can't get it done. I mean,
they look bad, don't they?
They look terrible. Port, it's a home game, obviously. I liked Asava up front. I thought it was made it fun. It kind of made it
He was
interesting.
good. No, he was really good.
Really, he was getting his mojo back finally for them too, because he'd been not so great and then out. I think, right? I can't quite remember the thing of it, but I don't think they can defend against Port's forward line, and
I agree.
those other two forwards, McDonald and Amadi. I mean, has Amadi scored since he
kicked 9? I know.
So I don't see it happening. I think Cindye, and it's crazy because Sydney's only 2 games ahead of the rest of the 8, right? Or
now they're 6 points. Well, they're actually 1.5. If Freo had their the draw earlier in the year.
So they're only 6 points.
Only 6 points. Yep. And could be 2 points this week if they lose again.
Nobody had this on their bingo card for sure.
Absolutely not.
Nobody was predicting this. All right. I'm about to poke the bear. Collingwood versus Carlton. 12th versus 4th. Sunday afternoon at the MCG.
Saturday night.
Oh, really?
Come on, Cindye.
I'm sorry. I messed up. Saturday night at the MCG. Now it's exciting. That makes more sense. How important is McStay to the Pies after this past week?
Massive. He's a target. With my checkout, he's their best target. So
yeah, it looks like he shook off the rust from the week before, and
I mean he hasn't played for 12 months, so
yep.
It makes sense.
Jamie Elliott looked like he got a little bit of help this week because I think we talked about before that he can't do it all on his own. He's magical, but he can't do everything. Nope. I think Lucky Schultz had a goal. Bobby had a couple.
Bobby, yeah.
Was there anyone else other than Nick Dacos who had some kind of record-breaking game or something, right?
He had 42 touches. Is amazing, actually.
Yeah.
His brother Josh played pretty well, but I mean, they were the two standouts. Pendlebury was good. They rested him in the last quarter, so he hasn't get injured for his 400th this week.
So let's talk about the big blue elephant in the room. Once again, you had something to rant about. So if you guys want to hear Andy's full rage at last week's Carlton loss, please go to Ankle Sore and listen to Carlton Corner.
And block your ears.
So give us your edited thoughts about what happened to Carlton this last week.
I just feel that the coach is just tinkering where he doesn't need to tinker.
Okay.
4 weeks ago, they were winning games, and he started to make some changes and moves here and move there. There's no need for that. And all of a sudden, it's just thrown the whole team out of whack. And, a couple of injuries, later, it's like they're a mess. It's an absolute mess. I just think that sometimes these coaches coach just to justify their job.
I understand that, yep.
They're not going anywhere. Sometimes you just need to sit back and know what you've got and let it play out, Right. Is he a control freak? I don't know. I mean, why would you want to tinker with stuff and put your season in jeopardy because they're a chance of missing the 8 now?
So it's Pendlebury's 400th game, and these two teams are mortal enemies. Should the Blues supporters be worried?
They should be petrified. They should be petrified.
How many people will show up to these games? 90?
I think it's already sold out. Yeah, it'll be close to... It would be probably mid-90s, 93,000.
Wow. All right, so...
Yep.
Who loses and why? Oh, no.
I've had a couple of days to think about this.
Okay. I'm scared.
I think Collingwood lose just.
Oh!
I just don't have the confidence in Collingwood.
Uh-huh.
Not that I have any confidence in Carlton, let's be honest, but I just think that...
Listen, if we're really being honest, they're your team, and if you feel like it could go either way, you have to say your team will win.
There you
how
go.
Can you
That's
not?
Exactly right.
How can you not?
It's 51-49, honestly. That's the honest truth,
So I've got news for you. Carlton are losing. I'll say it for you. Yeah. I think Collingwood can defend Charlie. I don't know whether Harry will be back in or not, but no DeConing. And if Cripps and Walsh don't have a good game, and by the way, I think Sam Walsh does not look right. There's something going on. Like, I don't know if he's carrying an injury or what, but I think the Pies are going to play out of their skin for Pendlebury. He's like the most beloved Pie of all time, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I think, what's the saying? Too much left to too few, I think, for Carlton. So I'm saying they lose this one. I'm sorry.
So there'll be a sacking Sunday morning then of the coach.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I'm personally going to go down and do it myself.
You're going to do it. You'll lead with the pitchforks and
I'll
stuff
lead
like
the charge.
Okay, now I have to have a deep breath. Yeah.
Deep breath.
This one's going to be painful. Giants versus Hawks, 5th versus 9th. It's at Monaco Oval, so it's a home game for the Giants. I mean, is this the game of the round or what?
Oh, easily. Love it.
Before we talk about all this stuff, I told you last week that Jesse Hogan was going to kick 5, and he kicked
4.
6. And he could have kicked 7 if Henry Thomas had actually passed the ball. Harvey
Thomas.
Harvey Thomas.
Harvey, yeah.
Cutie Patootie had passed it on to him. A lot of people say that it's general, like if your key forward is standing in the goal, you would have passed it. Is that accurate, or should Jesse have gotten out of the way?
If you're an experienced player, you probably handball it, knowing that, Coleman medal helped the forward out, right? Yeah. But knowing that it's a young kid like that and he's not going to pass it, get out of the way,
He
Jesse.
should have got out of the way. Fair enough. And just for the record, I'm stating here that Jesse is coming for the Coleman. He's only 3 goals behind.
Last week.
He's only 3 goals behind Charlie. He's just chipping away at it, little bit.
Well, he hasn't got much time, so you want to wake up.
Guinea and Newcomb got new haircuts, and apparently it didn't hurt their performances. It hurt my eyes, but not the performances.
It took me a quarter to realise who they were, and I'm not even joking. Honestly, I'm looking, I go, who's that? And who's that? Like, I'm looking for him. And I said, are they laid outs or something?
I saw really Ginnivan got a haircut on Instagram. I saw that.
Okay, I didn't.
But Newcomb, I had that reaction to him because I was like, who's that guy? Like, what?
You know who he does look like? You know who he looks like? I looked at him and I go, oh my God, that's Anthony Kiedis from the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Anthony, I'll have to look that one up.
He actually looks like Anthony Kiedis from the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
So, okay, listen. Okay. If the Hawks make finals, how deep can they go in September?
They can go a long, long way. They can go preliminary final. They are playing that well. They're hard to stop. Their game plan's brilliant. They haven't got the best players. They're fantastic. I love watching them.
The Giants were impressive for a big chunk of the game. I mean, first quarter, they kind of sat out for a bit.
They were still in Cindye.
Yeah, they were. First quarter. Exactly. Considering how much you value being able to play at the MCG, how much do you rate this win, even though it was only by 2 points against Melbourne?
Look, Melbourne aren't what they used to be. Let's be honest here.
Yeah.
I still value it as a win because it is at the MCG. It's away from home. It's against a finals contender.
Yeah.
But not as highly as you would against maybe a Carlton or an Essendon or, a Hawthorn.
Now, you love the way the Hawks play football. And would you say that Giants play a beautiful game of footy?
Wouldn't say beautiful. It can be good at times.
Exciting?
It is exciting.
Fun, watchable. Times. Any of those words work for you?
Yeah, semi-watchable. I've just got a thing with GWS because in 2017, they made the grand final they probably shouldn't have and then kicked 3 goals for the game. And I love grand final day. It's like the Super Bowl for us, right?
Okay.
It wasn't even a game. It was boring, right? So since that day, I've had something against the Giants for that reason.
Let's get this over with. Who loses and why?
You're not going to like this. GWS lose because Hawthorn's unstoppable.
Unstoppable. All right. Well, I disagree with you, fella. I think the Hawks lose.
I didn't see that coming.
I think the Giants play well at Monaco Oval. I think Sicily's going to have a problem defending Jesse Hogan, or Tom Hogan, as you like to call him. Honestly, though, I don't know. I mean, this is going to be... I'm expecting grand final energy for this game. So am I, it could seriously go either way. It could.
Let's be honest, it could.
I think it'll be fun because I think these are the 2 most watchable teams in the comp at the moment. So, but, the heart wants what the heart wants, and the heart wants... the Hawks to lose.
The heart's not always right, Cindye.
All right. Essendon versus Dockers. 10th versus 3rd. Yeah, I know. I don't know what day it is. I'm thinking it's a Sunday at the MCG, but clearly I screwed up.
Yes, it is.
How the hell did Essendon let St. Kilda score 100-plus points? How is it that the media all year long has said that Essendon is a top 4 team, and at some point I think they thought they were Premiership favorites? How did that happen?
We got it wrong, me being one of them. I guess because Essendon's been down for so long, you know, the drug saga, they were down for like 10 years.
Okay.
You're big on the underdogs. I think it's an underdog thing where they're finally playing well and you can see some improvement and you just want them to do well.
Yeah.
You know, so I think it's that. People are just getting excited.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, here in Melbourne, all the Essendon supporters have gone feral, let me tell you.
Oh, what does that mean?
Oh, Talkback Radio has been blasted with Essendon supporters.
Oh, no.
They want the coach's head, they want the player's head, they want everything.
How safe is a top 4 finish for Freo at this point?
Oh, it's safe as houses.
All right, we're gonna jump to it. Who loses and why?
Essendon, because they're hopeless. And then I'm going to enjoy my 100 nuggets, Fremantle, all right?
I agree with you. I think Freo, they have a good record in Melbourne. They're stacked with talent. Josh Tracy is unbelievable. Essendon are the great pretenders. So I think Essendon are going to lose yet again.
Good call.
Saints versus Lions, 14th versus 2nd. It's a Sunday game at Marvel. I asked you last week if the Lions were now the Premiership favorites, and you had a resounding no. But I have since watched your review of last week, and now apparently the Lions are the Premiership favorites.
Cindye, there's a man called Eddie Maguire, and he once used to host a show called The Footy Show. And at the start of every show, he would say, "It's been a big week in football." It's exactly what's happened. And yes, they are Premiership favourites now.
All right.
A lot can change in the week.
So besides Carlton's miserable loss, what else changed your mind?
Just Brisbane, they can't lose. They've won 9 in a row, 8 in a row,
That's
9
it?
in a
Just
row.
the sheer fact that they won, that's all it takes to make you think they're going to be there?
Well, they played the so-called, fortress team, Gold Coast, that their fortress there, and with no backline. Eric Kitwood had to go back.
That's right, yeah.
Who's never played in defence before, right?
Yeah.
And did okay on Ben King.
So what are the chances of St Kilda kicking over 100 3 weeks in a row?
0.
The last time the Saints and the Lions played, the Saints scored 100 points on Brisbane. Now, Brisbane actually scored, I think, 126 points to win the game, and the game was at the Gabba. But they did score 100 points against them.
I do remember that game. It was an entertaining game for once involving St Kilda.
So who loses and why?
St Kilda.
Okay.
Because actually, in fact, I tipped Brisbane to win the premiership this year at the start of the year in our season review show.
You did?
Which is interesting. 6 weeks ago, I'm like, geez, you look like an idiot, but hey, hopefully it might happen and I look like a genius all of a sudden. But they're hard to beat.
I think that the Lions are going to lose. No, I'm just kidding. I think the Saints are going to
almost
lose.
Threw up then.
Brisbane are red hot, Premiership favorites. They're not losing this one. But listen, this is all I have to say. Tipping is hard. It's so hard. Oh my God, each week. It's very difficult. So there you have it. Round 21 tips from Cindye and Andy over at Ankle Sore. And again, check out his Carlton Corner if you want to hear a great rant about the downfall of Carlton. And look forward to seeing you guys next time.